Here.
Here.
Okay, I want to move to the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we make an addition on the new business as far as discussing meeting minutes during our holidays for the month of November.
Meeting dates?
Yes.
Okay, well, where do you want to add
Just
number
add
9?
Number 9?
Okay, so Doreen has made the motion to add a number 9 to discuss holiday meeting dates. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Dave has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Okay, Doreen has made the motion to accept the agenda with those amendments made to it. Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Right. Approval of the minutes for August 10th and August 18th.
I move that we approve the minutes for August the 10th and August the 18th.
Okay, Bobby has moved that we approve these minutes for August 10th and August 18th. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay, guests, Rebecca Phillips. She is here to request an RV permit. Rebecca Phillips. Anybody? Nope. Was she notified?
I am not
Okay, so I guess you can notify her and see if she can make it to D next week. Nicole Wolf. Aha. Hello, Nicole. Come on up. Welcome. Nicole is here to request a business license. You should have that in your packet. Red does, yes. Okay, Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about your business?
I'd like to serve chicken wings, chicken cheesesteaks, pierogies with sauerkraut on top, corned beef with a Thousand Island dressing, cold subs, hot subs, deep fried pickles.
Normally.
Samples would be appreciated.
Yeah. When you start talking about.
So I've enjoyed it.
Take it you haven't had dinner yet.
I have not. Yeah.
So you have a food trailer, correct?
I do.
Okay, where would you park this trailer?
At, you would ask me that, Jackson's Tire, sorry. Jackson's Tire.
Do you have a name?
Pardon?
Do you have a name for it? Do we have one?
Wolf Swings and Things.
Okay, my bad.
Is it going to be parked right there where I think at one time they had some type of a little,
It was a shed.
like a little.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Like that, right where that was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What will your hours be?
Right now, I'm just gonna do like lunch and dinners. Eventually, I will do breakfast as well. So for right now, they're just gonna be from like 11 to 9. I would like to stay open like the nights that the kids have ball games, or there's something going on with the school. I'd like to stay open later, so if they wanna grab a bite to eat after they're finished, before they go home, that's an option for them.
Is it daily, every day?
Actually, I'm gonna do events as well. So I wouldn't
So
say
the
that.
days you'll pull out and go to another event, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, yes,
Do you have a Facebook page to announce those dates that you will not be open?
I do.
Okay.
When you plan to open.
That I'm not exactly sure because I have to peel all that, because it's brand new, so I have to peel all the stickers off of it, and I have to take it down to the health department, have it inspected, but I've got everything else except for, like, the okay from Granby.
Besides events in Granby, will you be parking in other locations?
Yes, I will. I'll be in Neosho. Exactly where, I'm not sure yet.
So how many days would you plan to be in Granby?
I would say probably 2.
2 a week?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I saw that new place that they built over there in Neosho where it has all of it's got patio furniture out there and then it's like a food.
The Moonshine Place?
No, it's
No.
called the
Oh.
show. The show.
Yeah. What's it
Show.
called?
It's called the show.
The show.
Oh, where everybody parks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they have food trailers where they all
Yeah.
over there. I thought that was kind of interesting.
gonna say, because that's my first place in Neoshows for the moonshine.
Oh, yeah? Isn't it
So,
interesting when you're playing too?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we accept the request for a business license.
Okay,
I'll
Dorena's
second.
made- Okay, Dorena's made the motion to accept her request and issue her a business license. Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Obviously, everyone's being based under the ground, it's related to him not having any code one in the residence locating.
All right, number 3 on our list of guests, we have Jared Jackson. Is he notified?
No, he was aware, our police chief was spoken on it, but I don't know.
Okay. So they came in to fill out any paperwork? Okay. All right. We will move on. Old business. Admin card. Our discussion about the admin card. I don't know if I mentioned this last time. I can't remember. I would like to utilize the admin card a little more often myself. I have been driving around. There are several dangerous buildings in our town. I have been tagging some of those. I feel much safer driving the city car, pulling into driveways. That way, it is on the side. Wait, it's not on the side, actually. We need it on the side. It's on the plates. That's what, yeah, it's on the plates, but it at least lets people know that I am somebody from the city pulling into the driveway. It's not a random car pulling in. So, but I
The magnetic sign for the city.
yeah, a sign wouldn't be bad. I knew something was on there and I had to process. I'm sorry. It's too much heat today, Victor. Driving me around all that plant. I got to see the sewer plant today, so. Anyways, I'd like to use it more often if the council's okay with that.
I'm okay with it. You're working.
Business, we shouldn't have anything like it.
Can't take it on vacation. Okay. So was there any other discussion about the admin card that we need to cover?
I do think it needs to stay in the city.
Stay within the city limits?
It needs to stay within the city.
Okay.
Put armor on it, just in case them dangerous buildings are stalking.
Yeah, they might follow me, huh?
So when I need to go to Joplin to pick up supplies or anything like that, I went to Joplin yesterday to have Bill sign off.
Right. I have no problem with that, but I think probably going elsewhere, like, I'd like driving at home or something like that, I think that needs to be off limits.
I think if it's city business, it's okay.
If it's city business, yes.
Okay. Any other comments on the admin card? Okay, number 2, loggers discussion. That was about the tiers. Did you get more information on that?
I did not need to post on that. I requested information to make sure that our budget is within the guidelines of our budget and our network.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to postpone that.
I move that we postpone the loggers until she gets more information.
Second that. Okay, Bill's made a motion to postpone that until you receive that information back. Doreen has seconded. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay. Supplying sewer to new homes. And I would like to discuss building permits tied into this, guys. Victor, you can go ahead and take the floor on your part of the supplying the sewer to new homes.
Still working on it, just trying to rewrite all the ordinance, just kind of make it easier, but adding some verbiage into it. Part of the process that I'll need to do is turn it into the USDA, Department of Agriculture, for their review, since we have bonds and a loan through them. They want to just look it over, so it'll go through them, and then I guess you guys, and then onto the lawyer to rewrite the ordinance.
I was out there with Victor today, and we kind of looked over what he has pulled up already. We discussed the complications of moving it from the online version into a doc so that we can change.
Yeah, I'll make some changes. Yeah, it's a little slow and cumbersome, but yeah, I kind of understand a little bit more what you was looking for as far as, I guess, a license or permit for construction.
Well, I'm thinking overall, because what we've noticed is what happens, people build, then they come in and say, hey, I need you to hook up my sewer. And then all of a sudden, we're saying, wait a second.
Yeah.
You're going to have forced main, or you're going to have a forced.
It just depends on the situation.
Yeah, depending upon the situation. So we really need to know ahead of time when somebody's going to build, before shovels are in the ground.
Yeah, it's time to think about utilities is right.
Right.
Because I know we've had some builders kind of come after the fact. And it's like, well, you really need to get your utilities thought through first, but.
Well, that way we'll be able to give them a quote of what it would cost them before
Yeah,
these.
and if sewer's even available, if the sewer's not within 100 feet of their property line, they don't have to hook to it. All the cost of connecting to a sewer is borne by them, because we do have some places where there's not even sewer there. So then that would allow them to put in a on-site septic system, which that's governed through the Newton County Health Department, not really us. So there's also limitations on lot size too. I think it's 15,000 square foot lot. So there's a lot of different things involved there, because there's a lot, our town's a little slopey and hilly, so there's a lot of areas where you can't get sewer to them, so
Because of the elevation.
elevation changes,
And
yep.
that's just covering both parties involved.
Yep, making sure they've got water, and so.
Yes, Danny?
Yes, if the sewer's out there in the street in front of your house, I think the city should have to bring the sewer to your property line.
It's not the way it is.
Huh?
It's not the way it is.
I know, but we can
I
change
know.
that.
I don't know. I guess
Sure
you
we
could.
can.
What kind of effect does it have on the city budget to do that? Like, what is the cost occurrence opposed to the city doing it versus the,
But most of them wouldn't be any worse than fixing a water leak.
I'm sorry?
It wouldn't be any worse than fixing a water leak.
Oh, sure it would, sure it would. You've got sewer lines that are up to 20 feet deep. We don't have shoring or equipment to even dig that deep. So, yeah, it is a difference. So,
Well,
I mean, yeah, if most of them were 3 or 4 feet deep, sure. But most of them are 8 foot or deeper, and we don't have the equipment to do it, so.
So what you're saying is if we were to bring it from the road to the home, we would have to hire crews to come in each time to dig 20 feet deep?
you bring it to the property line.
Yeah, which you do normally under if you're extending a sewer line or a sewer main, just like Joplin, I've seen them doing a lot of sewer mains, and they'll bring them out and stub them over to lots as they're going. But, our sewers have been in for 30 years now, and they've already gone to all the homeowners. So anything new, it's the owner's responsibility.
So Danny, does other towns do that?
Huh?
No,
Yeah, because I'm like,
no towns that I've worked for, so.
Yeah. Like, that doesn't make, like,
We're talking about people who are stupid enough to buy a new home.
Okay, we're focused on the sewer system.
What they need to do is essentially have a sort of new code here to warn people who are condemned to tax.
No, we're discussing the fact that when you put in an initial sewer system, usually what they do is they dig 20 feet deep, they stub it out to the lots in preparation for homes that are going to be built there, is what we're pointing out. And so.
well, it's not necessarily 20 feet.
Yeah, they can be up to that deep, yeah.
Okay.
And we do have some that deep, but 10, 15, just,
I think is what we're dealing with on some of the newer things.
there's some of them that are deep, I mean,
Yeah.
so.
And so what we're discussing is whether it's on the city to go ahead, dig back in there and stub back out into them when there's new build, is what you're saying. And you're saying that the other towns do not do that.
Well, I'd never heard of it, that's why I was
The
asking.
towns that I've worked for don't.
But that just seems like a lot of, I mean, nothing against new homes or building new homes, but
Yeah.
that's on the homeowner.
It is, or the
It's just like if
developer.
you build a house 200 yards off the road and there's water, and you want that water, I mean, you gotta run to
But
it.
It's your choice. Goes from the property line to their house, the city ought to have to take it to the property line. But
Yeah,
we're
but
the
there's a
ones making
meter.
the money off of it.
But there's a meter.
Yeah.
There's not a meter on sewer.
How often is it in the middle of a street like that?
Well, they're middle of streets, they're in alleys, it just depends, so, I mean, they're all over. But all the towns I've worked for, unless they're doing a sewer extension, it's up to it's just, when they put in this system, they brought the sewers over to each home, plus put in the homeowner's line too, as part of the project, because everything here was septic at that time. But I know Pierce City, Diamond, Joplin, Neosho.
So you're not talking about a code for a particular house, you're talking about mainline sewer to a subdivision house?
If you were doing a subdivision, then you'd be stubbing out several of them, and that would make sense for a developer to come in and say, I want this sent to, and the city doesn't take that on, the developer does. I know that much.
Developer, and then the engineer, architect. I did that up in Webb City. I did built some apartments. I had to put in the sewer extension. Missouri American, I had to pay them for the water extension. I was reimbursed for each water connection that, as the apartments were put online. Sewer was just my expense, plain and simple, so.
There was a place where you took me today, where we looked at a grinder station where those are a big deal. Those are $1,300 or $13,000.
Yeah, they can.
To that effect, and it actually has to, if you had one house that needed it sent to them and you set that up, that would be a huge loss for the city.
Yeah, it's expensive. It'd take a long time to recoup that if you ever would, because those pumps wear out.
And so that's looking at an increase on everyone when those kind of things happen. But I'm curious to learn more. Danny, I'd love to look into this just a little bit further so that I can learn more about how most
Yeah.
cities do that.
Well, I've seen them, homeowners do go out in the street and bring it in. And I've also seen the city dig out in the street and take it in too.
Yes, yeah. And we do kind of have a provision for that too. But like I was telling the
Well,
mayor,
what's the difference if somebody wants you to do it and you won't do it?
Well,
And they also pay to do it.
like I told the mayor, we don't have the safety equipment. We would then have to really hire a subcontractor anyway, or we'd have to lease the shoring equipment or a track hoe. Like I said, a lot of these are too deep for us to dig with a backhoe.
When I put it in out there at that house, I would try to get the city
Yeah.
to bring it to the property line. 5 foot, and it was only 5
I
foot
know.
deep.
Yeah. As long as I've been here, I've never known the city to do one, so.
I've seen them do it,
Do the sewer?
yes,
Okay, yeah. I never have.
I have.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah.
So you're going to continue to work on this?
Yes,
Go back to
still
the-
working on it.
Present to the USDA, got that's on it. Okay,
Yep.
thank you, appreciate that. And then I do want to continue on with the building permit part of this concern. When he's talking about supplying sewer to new homes, we really need to have something set up to where somebody says, I want to build in Granby, I'm going to come in and tell City Hall, this is where I'm building, I'm going to need an address, I'm going to need utilities, and fill out some sort of paperwork and put money down on a permit so that we know what's going on. Or what's your thoughts, council?
It needs to happen.
I think it needs to happen.
Okay. So Lana, can you get us information on that, pulled up for, can you, a lot of information?
I'll also check with Monette, DHS, some of the surrounding communities to see if they have a building permit fee, and I'll look at some of their ordinances.
Okay, so do you want this postponed within a month, or does that give you enough time?
Yeah, can we do this second meeting in September?
It would be a good idea for the homeowner to be aware of what kind of expense they were getting into with utilities.
Yes.
And so to do that, you'd have to have these city workers go out there and tell them what they'd be up against.
And then in order to know to even send anybody, we have to have them come in and file for a permit so that we know that they're even building in our town. That's been the issue.
Would you consider putting a time limit on there for them to get out to do it so it doesn't hold up the new construction? It
Yeah.
doesn't do any good if they get a permit and then they don't ever show up to do the inspection. Tell them.
That would probably be something that we need to tie into our information.
It already states that to give us a 24-hour notice for the inspection, house already permitted and whatever.
Would that include like the water and everything or is it just sewer?
I think the water's similar to, I guess.
That's once it's built though, correct?
The sewer line and everything? Yes,
For the
to go out and inspect the sewer tap. And I'm rewriting it to where I want to actually see, as they cut into the sewer main, other towns are like this. I want to physically be on site as they cut into our line.
Okay. made a motion to postpone the supplying sewer to new homes and building permit to September 28th.
I'll second that.
Okay, Doreen has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay. Discussion on property encroachment at 140 West Neosho Street. I would entertain a motion to postpone that.
Make a motion, we postpone the property encroachment on 140 West Nashua Street.
Dave has made a motion to postpone that to what date? You wanna do it?
September 28th.
September 28th.
I'll second.
Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay, I hate to do this again to you guys. Bill number 905 and 906. I had a discussion with the attorney the other day. I think some information got lost in translation as far as what we wanted to do with 905 and 906. You don't have it in your packet. Yeah. It is rewriting the committees, the board members, and all that information. I tried to quickly, after the conversation with him on Tuesday, I tried to quickly go in and fix that. Once again, when you're copying and pasting from our online site into a Google Doc, it jumbles everything up. So to retype all of that in a day or two, I couldn't do it, to be quite honest with you. Did you ever get a chance to talk to that code people about the Word doc?
No.
Okay.
I do have a note on my desk.
Okay.
I was on the state course all day today, so.
Gotcha. Well, it's been just within the last 2 days is when we've had this discussion. There's a thing where it'll give me if I can click a word, and it should pull it over into a Word doc for me, and it's not doing it. And so, once I get that, I can get this ball rolling. If you guys would just entertain postponing that again, I apologize.
Both of them?
Yes, number 5 and number 6, we are no longer having the attorney work on that.
So are we readdressing?
Yeah, I'd like to postpone it to, you can do the 28th meeting when you would like.
I'll make a motion, we postpone bill number 905 and 906 to September 28th.
Okay, David's made a motion to postpone the 905 and 906 to September 28th meeting. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you. Number 7, dog registration fees. Doreen, did you have information on that?
No.
Okay.
No, we talked about it at a previous meeting of debates. Is that gonna go into effect, or is there something we need to do about that?
This was the one that was postponed to this meeting to discuss. It says registration fee. I was thinking that it had to do with, the impact. She was wanting to increase those to 25, 50, and 100. And we had not voted to do that.
And what were they now? Do you know what they are?
Very minimal, is what they were.
Very minimal.
And I have it
Like
written down
10,
in my
25, and
notes.
50.
Can we postpone this until we can make sure that Kathy will be here to make this decision with us?
Would that be the next meeting?
What?
Would that be the next meeting?
Make a motion to postpone this to the next meeting, which would be September 14th.
Okay, Doreen has made a motion to postpone number 7 to September 14th meeting. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay, mutual aid agreement with Diamond. Jason didn't know how to take off, could you, the Diamond officer here represent Diamond?
I'll stand with Granby So, our last board meeting in Diamond, the board unanimously approved the mutual aid agreement with Granby. They was able to see pretty instantly what the benefits for our city and what the benefits that we'd be able to supply to your city. I mean, we're equally equipped. We're not bringing in any more equipment, just manpower, which is usually what we need. Honestly, it's a long time to hold your breath or to hold somebody at gunpoint waiting on counter. At normal speed, I drove over here in 8 minutes from my PD to your PD. 8 minutes doing the speed limit. We could probably cut that in half. 4 minutes is still a long time to wait for backup when you need backup, but it's way better than 30 minutes. I'm not bad-mouthing county. County has the same restraints that we have. And actually, this year, county has done more, has called us out to do some of their smaller stuff, calls, because they're swamped too. So we have to stick together to get this thing done. You know, so.
At our last meeting, the board's concern was Diamond on board, and I did speak with your mayor. She said that they were hands down, ready to go.
Yep.
You brought,
We've signed our copy of it.
and this is the same copy that we have, the same agreement that you have sitting in here.
Right. And in the past, in 2006 and 2008, we had an agreement, the same agreement with you guys.
Okay.
However, it goes, just thrown aside or overlooked probably what happened.
And I know that the council's other concern was the liability within our town if a Diamond officer was hurt or over there. We did receive notes back from Connell Insurance stating that mutual aid, we have no issues with these. They're pretty common. In the event that we are involved in a mutual aid event, our policy will protect our officers, and Diamond's policy would cover their officers, regardless of which jurisdiction the event is occurring.
Right.
So we are covered in insurance too.
That's what my insurance said too. We have NPR, and they said wherever we go, our insurance goes. And the example that he used was multiple jurisdictions end up, one agency started chasing somebody, filling me warrants. They went through multiple jurisdictions. Everybody stayed with the chase. It was, you know, in like a tri-county little area. And unfortunately, the subject ended up dying. But it didn't all come back to the one small city. Everybody was responsible for their own actions.
Gotcha. So council, you have questions?
No, I move that we accept the mutual aid agreement with Diamond.
I have one more question though, before we do
Absolutely.
this. All right, how large is your force? Because we are a one-man show. most of the
One at a time?
Same as you?
When I left over there, I was uncovered.
Okay.
My officer that's supposed to be running late, sick kid, he'll be there.
Okay.
So yes, we just got one at a time. So,
And that was our concern, because we.
right, if you come over to help me, you're
Yeah.
leaving yourself open, and then we're still open to county and state to come in and fill this,
Right.
you know.
And vice versa.
If there was another emergency during that emergency. We're hoping we don't have that kind of emergencies, but
In the-
I don't see the world getting better anytime soon. It feels, to me, it feels like it's getting worse. And is it safer for me? Yes. Is it safer for whoever's on duty over here? Yeah. Have I come over here when Deno had a 911 hanging at the bank? They tried to call the bank, 2 different numbers. They both went to voicemail. So they sent Deno. Well, I just started coming this way. As I got to the city limit, it was found out it was nothing. But not just the benefit of the backup, the call that Deno's on right now, we're associated with that same subject in Diamond, even though he lives here. And we're able to exchange firsthand knowledge, info on these people. That's what this has opened up for Diamond, and I'm sure for Granby as well. If we have a less than desirable citizen, then we can talk about them over here, and then we can get the whole family tree picture put together, and it helps us solve crimes.
I like it. So this mutual aid thing would be, this mutual aid response would basically be emergency only.
Right. And it's if we're available. 'Cause we fall under the same thing as county. You know, if I'm already on a call of domestic, and you got a domestic over here, I'm obviously gonna have to work my domestic. We hope that, you know, that it just gives us another avenue for help.
I just know we're extremely short-handed at the moment.
Right.
You know, I hate
I've
pulling
got-
somebody out of town.
With me, as the chief, I have 2 other full-time officers. Jason is one of my reserve officers. And then I have another one of your reserve officers as my reserve officer, Officer Miller. I have your same people working for me over there. The benefit of that is, if they get called over here to help, they probably know where they're going. My other 2 full-time guys, and me, it might take me a little longer to find it. We're gonna have to come and do some ride-alongs with you guys to figure out where everything is. But I did know where this last call that came in, I knew exactly where that was, because I'd been over there, interviewed him in his home. So it's very helpful.
So you're from Diamond?
Yes,
And just so you guys know, we are fully staffed. Our police department is fully staffed, and we have 24-hour coverage.
Great.
I don't have that. 24/7?
Just,
Yeah. I don't have that in Diamond.
What hours can I drive to Diamond?
Don't-
I go to work every day and I go,
What time do you come through?
I'm not telling you.
And what do you drive? You can drive, Diamond's open 24/7. All that we ask is that you match the numbers. It's too easy. You know, we'll wave at you. I've seen me do it.
Yep.
You've waited me plenty of times.
Right.
As I'm slamming on my, no, just kidding.
Yeah. There are mornings when I think I need to invest in Chrome. Yeah, I get that.
Any other questions?
No, I think it's a good idea. I mean, I'm okay with seconding your motion.
Bobby has made the motion to go ahead and sign the police protection intermunicipal agreement.
It's easy for you to
And
say.
Dave has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0.
I didn't get it.
Thank you.
5.
5-0.
5.
Thank you. We will get that signed. We appreciate you coming over here.
Too easy.
Yeah. New business, discussion on tiny house ordinance. Okay, it is a common misconception that we have an ordinance that states that you cannot build a tiny house in our town. You can indeed build a tiny house in our town. It is not against our ordinances. Council, you have in your thing, it says manufactured home parks. It's passed, right here. It looks like this. When you look under, it may not be on that one. That's the placement of one outside. It's under our manufactured homes, parks where it's definitions. That's where this misconception is coming from. Under the definitions, it says, for the purpose of this chapter, manufactured homes shall include any structure or structures built on-site or off-site designed to be used as a dwelling or units with or without a permanent foundation which is no more than 750 square feet. I see that it says built on-site or off-site. This is under manufactured homes. This is a home that is prefabbed in a box. Okay? So if you stick build a home in our town, it can be less than 750 square feet. So I want to get that out in the open. Because
Permanent or on wheels?
I'm sorry, start again.
Permanent, tiny home, or
You can build
Or
a
on wheels.
permanent one on foundation, stick-built home. Okay, so that's a
That means
good
you
question.
can't buy a small one and move it in, set it on a foundation.
That's a good question. That's where we're gonna move to now. Now, my next question for the council is, we have a packet, and what's in front of you is the section that talks about placing a manufactured home on your own property. So application for the placement of a manufactured home outside of a manufactured home park. We have a process, an application process, just like Mr. Dugan did not too long ago. He put up signs, he put in the paper, requested permission, showed us his specs. It was within 5 years. I think that our council should entertain the idea of creating an application process for a tiny home, a manufactured home, to be brought in as such. And I think your process, if you do it correctly, will weed out the Lowe's shed that someone wants to put in and live on. This would be a manufactured tiny home designed to be a home placed within property. What is your guys' thoughts?
I would love to get some more information on it, for sure.
Information as,
How stringent we need to be as far as qualifications of the structure that they're bringing in.
I'm wondering if we can shadow what we have for our manufactured home. Like if we had only 5 years old, they have to bring in the specs where it's designed by a manufactured home, tiny home builder. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Would have, I mean, it talks about.
From a certified builder, maybe would be the wording we would need to make sure is used.
That would be good, yes.
I build houses all the time, I'm not certified.
Well,
But
there you go.
you're building a house, not a manufactured property that's being brought in.
You're gonna build it- you would
They're
build it.
building them everywhere and selling them anymore, these tiny houses. You can go to a lot of other towns, and they've got them set in there.
And
If
you
you
know,
take them in there and set them on a foundation and run all the utilities to them, make it permanent, you need to put on like wheels or something like that, something. But if it's on a permanent foundation, it shouldn't make any difference.
I guess I'm not following. Oh,
Some tiny houses are on wheels, is
Right.
what he's saying.
Right, and you
But-
take those
but
off
maybe
and you
the
place
tiny
them.
houses are not.
Right.
And he's saying you might need to designate between the two, because on wheels is like a manufactured home.
Trailer.
Like a trailer.
that's a travel trailer, basically, is that, we don't wanna, we wanna make sure that is not something that somebody.
Because they could be pulled back off, whereas one that's set in, it's an example, it's not a house, but like when she put in the massage parlor,
Mhm.
she brought in the pre-constructed building and set it in and put it on a permanent foundation, and, okay?
It's like a
I
house with
see. Yes.
a permanent
Yes,
foundation.
Yes.
and those are the kind of things, yes, that we would
Yes.
need to make sure we have in our rules and application. Yes.
My question, a tiny house, what's the difference with it and a single wide trailer that's manufactured? That could be put on a permanent foundation. That would open that up. It can open tiny houses. Because if they put it on a foundation, what would be the difference in the manufactured and the tiny house?
I think we might go back to Victor's lot size at that point, so we wouldn't have 6 on one
15,000 square feet, that was as far as a septic system. You gotta have a lot, at least that big or bigger.
Not put
County.
more than one
So,
over a
yeah, so
certain
if
area.
one could only one on a 1,500
Well,
square foot lot.
Newton County would have to get, if that one that, you may have 2 acres there, and you can't set nothing on it because you can't get a septic system to work. They gotta test the ground before you can get it tested.
Which goes back to our building permit subject to have.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that does go back to that.
I would like to see us explore this a little bit more before we make a big decision and.
Oh, yeah,
get
no
some-
decisions should be
But
made.
get a, ordinance pertaining to tiny homes brought into the city.
Are mobile homes single now allowed in town?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to be careful, like you said, of discrimination on the size. Before, if I understood, it had to be a certain square footage.
750. But it's not mobile homes have in town at all. Manufactured homes that go through the process are less than 5 years old and have been.
But you know, HUD doesn't even call mobile homes anymore, they're now called manufactured homes.
So
You have to be careful when you say you allow manufactured mobile homes, because HUD doesn't even call.
what's the, you spoke
Mobile
about this.
home is a single wide, a manufactured home is double wide.
That's what I just
With
said.
the frame
That's what
still
she's-
left under it.
But HUD does no longer call it that.
But it,
HUD doesn't.
the frame being under it, but that's the actual definition of one.
So what's,
HUD doesn't define it.
okay, so what's the difference between, so you've got modular and manufactured, is that your two differences? Is that what you're stating?
I think, I mean, I'll go back and look, but I was almost positive that HUD changed it all to manufactured.
Denise, what are the sizes of a single wide mobile home?
Well, they can be as little as 14 by 40. It can be little.
But they can
But
also
all
be
of
quite
them are
big, 16
manufactured.
by 80.
But a modular, the frame comes out.
Yes.
So-
Modular is totally different from
Right.
a manufactured home.
So in our ordinances, we need to make sure that we identify that there will be no wheels allowed to remain on the structure as a permanent structure.
And what about the frame? Because banks will loan differently on something with a metal frame under it as opposed to something that's
The no wheels thing won't work because they always take the wheels off.
But, okay, no,
Yeah.
the frame needs, are you allowed to take the frame out from under it?
It's not on a trailer, you can't.
part of the structure.
It fall apart.
A
What
manufactured.
they've brought in up here, there's no frame underneath it. It was brought in, skid off, laced.
So that would be how we can differentiate by saying, if it comes in on a frame, it would have to remain on the frame, we wouldn't allow it? Is that?
That would have to be something that we can explore. I'm just saying there are some really nice tiny houses. And once again, like I said, it's a fallacy on the building part. I would love to see somebody build some, ground up. Let's see if there's a lot of single people, young kids graduating, they have to move out of town because there's nowhere for them to go. Okay? So those are the kind of things that I would like to see us think about.
We got 3 small ones here in town. We have people all the time wanting them. So, yeah, the city's hurting itself by not letting them in.
That's my
Yeah.
concern, is that we do not have places for people to go.
Sounds to me like you're making more and more rules and paperwork about what people can put on their own property.
Well, we would prefer somebody not to come in and build a cardboard shack to live on their property. That's kind of, yes, you are correct in that aspect. However, we would like to make sure that we're working with the citizens to encourage growth in the right direction.
And you know, I feel like we could put any structure up, it's how the person that lives there, how they take care of it and appreciate it themselves.
That is true.
If they're putting up a structure that they rent out to someone that doesn't care for that structure, then we're gonna get more of what we have now as far as dilapidated houses.
Are you gonna make it rental property? Say somebody wants to come in and put up a tiny home and rent them out.
Well, you can't decipher that for somebody. I mean, if they build them, they do what they wish with their property. That's their property. I'm just saying that I would like to encourage, because I think so many people are under the fallacy that they're not allowed to build from the ground up and it has to be a certain size. That's not accurate. And I feel like there's a lot of builders that would take the time to build more if they knew that. So I wanted to make sure that was out in the open. So, and I know, Danny, you've mentioned it to me before.
Yeah.
And I know that Doug's mentioned it to me. And I'm like, that's not accurate. So I wanna make
That's
sure.
what I understood at one time.
Yeah,
From the
that's what you
council
were
years
told.
ago, that you had to be 750 square feet.
Yeah, that's what people were told. I was told the same thing. We had a lot over on the other side of town, on the south side. I would have entertained building a small house on, just because the lot size is small. I wouldn't mind if that did that. But I thought the same thing. But anyways, food for thought, guys. I just think that we might ought to throw this back onto old business, keep it in our minds. I would entertain postponing it or, just thinking on it and bringing it back up at some point in time. We know it falls off our radar if we don't postpone that.
I'll make a motion, we postpone the discussion of tiny houses to our October meeting, the first meeting in October.
12th, is that good? Okay, Doreen has made the motion to postpone this conversation about tiny houses to October 12th. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. And those of you who have deep thoughts on this, I mean, feel free to throw us your ideas and your concerns.
Won't you
because-
check with the college out over at Neosho?
Oh,
And
yes.
over there where they're building these tiny houses, what kind of regulations are around this part of the country?
It's a good idea.
We went through some of those.
We toured some of them, and it sounds very nice.
I'd love to see a little tiny house community with a community building in the middle of the house. I don't know. Anyways, okay, licensing permits for mobile home parks and inspection requirements. Okay, it has been brought to my attention some concerns around mobile home parks, or mobile homes being brought into the parks lately. I heard her mention your name as Denisa. Are you here for this part? Okay, I think it was your son that I visited with this, or today. There has been some concerns on the, I don't know how to say it, but some of the homes that have been brought in are a concern. One of them particularly looked like it might have been in a tornado at some point in time. I don't know if that's accurate with quite a bit of damage on it, especially termite damage on it. As a building inspector, actually I'm a building commissioner. I know in the past it has not been enforced. And I believe it's hurting our population and it's hurting our utilities, it's hurting us all around. That we are not enforcing regulations on either what's been brought in or the lack of being taken care of, the dilapidated homes. So that is why April Homes did get a call from me. I spoke at length with your son this afternoon. After the call last week, I went over there and I was very surprised to see the progress that you guys have made over there. The driveways look amazing. Dino's not in here right now, but him and I, we rode over there and they're working very hard to make a difference. Our main concern though is, should we have age requirements on the trailers that come into these parks? And as a owner, would you like to give us your opinion?
I also have Highway 59 discount homes. And we sell mostly newer ones.
Would you mind to step up here so we can get it on the recordings, because citizens are watching this as well? Sorry.
I didn't come to that. Okay. I was saying at Highway 59, the cheapest one we have right now is a little house, tiny house. It's $49,900, and it's a 09. So, and we also have a 2020 that's $79,900. So there's no way you could afford to put an $80,000 single wide over there. Just couldn't do it. If we did, we'd have to have so much rent. There's nobody in that park could afford to pay that. We try to keep all of ours $500 or less a month. So, that's kind of where we're at. We did drop the ball last year when we pulled those in there. I lost our daughter very unexpectedly. And we didn't do any more until this year, and that's why everything just stopped. But we are back on it. We already were. We had in mind to do all this last year as far as getting driveways and all that stuff, and we just stopped. So there's just no way we could afford 5 years or newer for rentals. If you've looked at new houses, you know what I'm saying, and I sell them, so I know. And I don't know how they sell. I have no idea how they keep selling the way they are. But I think it's still cheaper than houses that you could go buy new. We've got double wides there that $159,000, that's used. There's nobody could afford to buy something that new and rent them. The people that buy it our lot are homeowners, not renters. So that's all.
Can I ask, are the majority or a portion of your trailer or homes that you get brought in, are they repos?
Every one of ours are repos.
That's what I thought. Because people can't afford it.
Well, That scares a lot of people because we usually have about 50 houses there all the time, but they come from Oklahoma City, Wichita. I mean, they come from a long ways to our lot. What we've been doing over here is the ones that are older. I mean, I say old, 95, 99, 2000, 2005, and we've just been working on them as we can. When Travis and I took over that park, there was 9 houses in there. We have 26 right now that are rented and pay utilities, and they're good. We just haven't taken the time to fix the rest of them. We plan to do that as quick as we can, and so what we went ahead and did, we've got them skirted. I think we've got 2 left that they're doing today and tomorrow. And then as we can, we'll do 1 or 2 at a time and just keep adding them. I mean, I think we've got 10 more that are in the park that as soon as we get done, there'll be more income for everybody.
Okay, I think we really would just like to have an open line of communication of you saying, okay, this is the one we're bringing in, we've done this much repairs to it to make it livable. I mean, my thought process goes to, would you want your grandkids to live there? Would you want your family to live there?
In the houses
Yeah,
that we have
in
done?
the structures that you're bringing in.
Okay, the houses that we have done, I would live in them.
Okay.
Now, after the people's lived in them for a year, probably not.
See, and that's where it falls back on, just like we were talking about. You can bring in the nicest place, but the person that you put in there that destroys it and runs off and leaves, then that leaves you back with having to make
Redo 'em.
necessary repairs that would satisfy a building commissioner.
Okay, so I don't think we go through more than a couple people turnovers a year, maybe. Last year, we probably had 4. But I try really hard to make sure the people that we get stay. And we try to make sure that we don't have any drug people, and I think we've got rid of all those people, I hope.
My main concern also came from an officer. What happened is one of the doors to one of those trailers was left open or kicked in, I don't know. The officer went in dark, flashlight in hand, trying to make sure nobody's in there. As he walks through there, he nearly stepped in a hole this big on the floor. That to me is dangerous for our emergency vehicles or our emergency people. And so I guess my concern is not necessarily the ones that people are living in, it's the ones that are being brought in that are in huge disrepair. So is it possible to repair them then bring them?
Yeah.
I think that's a more acceptable solution to this.
Yeah.
I don't, and I'm not.
Especially if they're gonna set, I mean, I understand you had circumstances, but if they're gonna sit there for months or a couple.
And they did. They've been there for a year, and we haven't touched them till now. But
Could you bring them in after you fix them up?
yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, that's
But what we have done this week, we put new doors on all the ones that are empty. I think we still have a couple that I had to order that won't be until next week. But we will have new doors on all of them and keep them screwed shut so people can't get in them until we get to them.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is this a rental or is it a lease to own?
Both. We have some of both. I mean, it just kind of depends. I mean, on the little houses, we just always do those as rentals. On the 16 by 80s, there's one double wide in there. The bigger ones, we usually do those as rent to own. It basically ends up about the same.
Yeah.
Although they take more pride in it if they're owning it. We'd like all of them to be that way, but some of them, people don't do that on the little ones.
Are you talking about revisiting your decision, the council decision last August to not allow the mothers to start sitting to?
No, that is not the discussion at all. We're discussing the trailer parks that are in service right now in our community and whether there should be an age limit on the trailers that are being brought in. That's what we're discussing. Or any other changes that needed to be made to that. That's our concern.
My thoughts are if we require anyone else moving a mobile home into the city that's less than 5 years old, or, no greater that how can we allow it somewhere else with the trailer being older? Is that not kind of,
It's been that way as far as I know in every place for a mobile home park.
You mean in other
Well,
cities?
Other
Yeah.
cities?
There is a bit of a difference, and I want to be careful with how I word this. Because we all have a different level of revenue coming into our homes. We all have the different ability to pay for our housing and our overhead, and what we need. What she is saying is she wants to offer some of the lower income needs. She's trying to satisfy the lower income people to have a home and to be able to afford their home within the city limits. What she's stating, and correct me if I'm incorrect, what she's stating is if you put a 5-year age limit on it, that will stop all of the trailers from coming in because they are so expensive, your lower income people will no longer be able to afford the rent. Is that?
Right. I mean, if they are buying that, that's completely different, but
So
again,
if
that's
you're
why.
owning your own property and you're placing a mobile home or a manufactured home or whatever word there is out there now, I'm sorry, I don't know what it is exactly. But what I'm looking at our ordinances, that if you're placing it on your own property, that means you have the means to purchase your property. You are buying your home, it's yours instead of renting. It's a different socioeconomic level, honestly, I believe.
I get that. Okay, Mike, I'm gonna just have a discussion with you. If you, as you're renting a property, a structure, we'll call it a structure.
Manufactured home.
Let me make the right words. If you're renting a structure on your property, you're saying, I'm gonna be responsible for the repairs. If you're leased to own, or how you
Yeah.
wanna word that, who makes sure that those homes are going to be,
Okay, so they still have to sign a lease with the park.
huh?
Part of their payment is lot rent, so they have to abide by all the other rules in that park.
Okay. So do you do spot inspections?
Yes.
Do you go in and say, what's this hole in the floor, what happened here?
No.
You're gonna need to fix that, or you're gonna need to move your trailer off our
No,
rented lot?
I can't do that. I can on a rental, but the lease to own, I cannot.
Okay.
Because it's their property,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, that's on our
But as
property.
far as being on your lot and abiding by your rules, you wouldn't allow a renter to have a hole in their floor. So that's where I'm asking the question of, where is that line? And that's how we ensure that the structure that's there is maintained and kept up to a standard that you would want to live in. Any of us would want to live in.
But your statement earlier where you stated that you felt like if you do a lease to own, they put more pride and take better
They
care of
do.
it.
They really do.
They're responsible for repairs at that
Yeah.
point, yeah.
They all still call us. We usually end up taking care of whatever. But I think if you talk to any of those people out there in the park, at least the people we have there now, I think all of them are appreciative of having that place. We try to keep it, and like I said, I'll be the first to say, we did drop the ball big time this last year. But before, I've helped with that park for 20 years. When Rick and Michelle had it, and then when Amanda and Bashar did, and they're still involved as well. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway.
Well, I feel like the open line of communication is gonna make a world of difference as far as if you say you're bringing in a 1999 trailer, but I've made these modifications to bring it up to a level of livability, would you just put it that way? That might be more open to discussion to keep within your trailer park. And I get that you're saying if it's 5 years or older, that's what our stipulations are
Right.
outside of a trailer park, but we have different ordinances for inside of mobile park and outside.
Right. And we
Or
do
just
need to.
bring it in when,
Prepared.
when it
Prepared.
is livable.
Yeah, bring it in
Or
livable.
Close enough.
Because the ones I was looking at are just uninhabitable. And you can agree with that. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
know
do.
that.
There
And I-
is considered intake input
You have
You've got a mobile home park.
Mine is different, 'cause I own all the homes, and we rent them all out. And, if, I just finished one that, well, the newest one I've got is a 1999 model. The oldest one I've got is a 1975. And, I would, challenge to look at any of them, and that would, as far as livability, would be as good or better than a lot of houses in town. And I just spent $20,000 remodeling one, and it looks like it's brand new. I'm working on another one where we had to replace 100% of the floor, and I'll be spending about $20,000 on that as well. But it'll bring top dollar for rent. And,
What's top dollar for rent, if you don't mind my asking?
one of them could rent for $750, which is comparable to the houses I've got.
Okay.
And usually we have, after everyone moves out, we have to go in and replace carpet and paint and stuff like that. I've always been proud that we've taken care about it. Now, one thing I do, that I don't bring up often, is the worst part of my park is the street.
It is.
And I've been asking Jim for 5 years to fix it. He said, I want to do it once after the EPA has been here. Well, they've not even been to the park to look at it.
I had a discussion with David Putnam the other day, and we drove down your road. I can't remember why we were looking for trash to pick up on the side of the road because we were cleaning up city cleanup. And so he said, for a long time, I had no idea that the city actually owns this road. I need to get something done about this. I'm trying to figure out how to dry it out and get something in there. So it is on Dave's radar. It is on my radar. So I knew that would be the one thing you're complaining about. Yes, it is an issue.
Okay, can I ask, when's the last time you've taken one trailer out and another one?
It's several years.
Okay.
But I've got one there that needs to be taken out now and replaced.
And so I think as the council, we would like to, like when we're talking with Lisa, to keep that line of communication open and let our building commissioner inspect it to make sure that it's in a shape that you would want to live in. Is that fair? Does anybody want to jump in on that?
So basically, you're wanting to add that into your ordinances, and before they actually place it, it needs to be inspected, is what you're stating?
Well, I mean, if they're bringing it from 2 states away and are gonna put it in, but like we've asked you to make sure that the
I can take them to my
repairs
lot
have been
first.
made, and then we would somebody could go to your lot and check it then.
And all of our houses at the lot are refurbed, whether they're a year old or 20 years old. We get them really bad and we get really good ones, and they have to be floors, walls, ceilings. So we know how to do it.
And so,
We just haven't did it.
on the title of the structure, on the title, do you put in there that repairs were made on?
You mean like
for
the
these-
purchase agreement or something?
Yes. So in the paperwork somewhere, it's going to say, in 2023, the floors, the windows, these doors were all replaced. And that would give us a more,
No,
No, that's
no,
not.
I'm sorry, I didn't misunderstand.
okay,
When we sell them at the lot, we don't even show them until we have them done.
okay.
And then when we have them done, they're buying it as is. It's a used home, they're buying it.
Right.
They can go in there and spend all day, 5 days if they want to, look it over top to bottom. Then they have to buy them as is.
Okay.
But what we do over here when we get them done, I mean, there's people lined up waiting, our phone rings every day, wanting a place over there. So before we let anybody go over there in those parks, they're done. They always are done. The walls are done, the floors are done, carpet. I even put up curtains. So they're done. They're ready for somebody to move into. But until then, we don't.
And that's what Travis said. He said, I wish you could come and look at one of them that I already have fixed up. I said, the ones that you have fixed up aren't the issue. The issue are the ones that are
So how long do we have to get them done?
I have not tagged them. I did not go forward and tag them today because I wanted to talk to the council first. Generally, when we figure out that a home is considered to be a dangerous building, we give them a 30-day notice to fix it. Then we come back and inspect. If it's not, if it hasn't been brought up to code or to non-dangerous, then we give a notice. It's a 10-day notice of when we're going to have a hearing on it. We discuss what we do from there. I told him myself that I am overwhelmed. This is new to me. I put a 30-day tag on there. I will give a 30-day till the next hearing, and then we discuss it from there. So I cannot do a 10-day in that. I get that it says it in our ordinances, but I can't do that. I know my limitations. So is 60 days when we discussed the other end. Personally, as the inspector, I saw what they're doing down there. I saw him changing out the mud seals. I saw them fixing the driveways. I personally believe that they're going in the right direction, and I have no desire to tear down with someone or to hound someone actually working hard to fix something. I saw the effort you're putting forth. I did. And so it's up to the council if they want to make any changes within our ordinances to address the future. But for right now, I have not sent out a letter or put any of the notices on your trailers.
And I believe we discussed this as a council, that as long as somebody is making progress on a structure that we've talked to the other homeowners about, I think that makes a world of difference. And we've talked about it's not a wet blanket across everything, but individually, and the person that owns that property, if they are making progress and trying to improve, because we know it can't happen overnight. But I think as long as there's progress being made, that would be taken into consideration.
Are you gonna do that on houses too? There's a lot of houses in here, it looks a lot worse.
I have tagged 15, I think, already.
Okay.
So, what makes a house dangerous?
We have a specific ordinance that states the percentage of the roof, the percentage of the walls, the damage within, health and safety, if it's a health concern. We have ordinances that lay it out specifically, so.
So are you going to get a medical opinion, someone to sign off that that is a threat to public health?
I could if I needed to, yes. I don't know that I need to at the moment. Actually, most homeowners have worked with me greatly so far. We've had two dangerous garages already tore down because they saw the need to tear them down. I talked to you guys, and you guys are beating feet to work hard, and I am appreciative of that, and I think the people that live in your park are appreciative. We did receive complaints from some within. Others said they are very thankful for it. Another complaint that I received from that is the water, and that is a concern. Have you spoken with the EPA at all?
Yeah, since they did all that stuff all around the park, now then it just
floods right on through
right
there.
through there, and we've talked to them. It's funny to me that 3 sides of us, actually 4 sides of us, are bad, but there's nothing in the park, which I'm okay with that. I don't hate for them to come in there and dig it all up, but the water's completely different.
From when I drove through there, it looks to me like you have quite a river that will roll through there in a good size rain. And that's a concern because it goes right to the bottom of a couple of your trailers. And so I'm imagining that occurred because of the loss of trees around you.
It always had that valley through there, and you would have water, but we never had flooding that we do now.
Yeah.
And we've talked to them, and they said when they get all of that done, they'll come back and work on that. I don't know when that'll be.
Okay.
They did come and put a bunch of rocks over in,
I saw that.
I don't remember what corner that is, but it helped a little bit, not a lot. And there was a huge pile of dirt. Travis finally got all that out of there, but it kind of would stop it, but it made it real bad for people on back. You could not go, they had to go out a different way just because you could not cross through there.
Yeah, it's very low. It drops down there, and then I I noticed that too, and I wondered if that was a concern on your radar, if you'd had conversation with, and I think I might ought to have some conversation with too. I thought it might be. I hadn't seen it, but it looks to me like it is not. So, okay. So council, are you wanting to change these rules? Are we gonna move forward with them as is right now? What's your thoughts? Okay, if there's no, go ahead.
What you're talking about?
That is
Considering
not-
these two? I
that-
know you gave these to us, was it something you wanted us, I'm assuming, to consider?
This was added in there, this, you said, this is Monez, and what was being considered was number 8 on it, or if there was any other
Okay.
thing that we do not have within our ordinances that we should have. Monez, on their number 8, they have the age of units. It says, no mobile home or manufactured home shall be older than 5 years at the date of installation in the park or the subdivision.
Okay.
That's
what you were wanting us to look at.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to pursue that
I don't.
personally, because that, I mean, I lived in a trailer when I was younger, and there's a lot of people that need it, so.
I lived in one too, and they can be very nice. They can.
They can be, yes.
I mean, not a trailer.
A structure.
We're
A
trying
structure.
really
Home sweet home.
Home sweet home.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you're making progress and, getting them up and going, I don't see
I would
a
like to-
problem.
I would like to ask the council, anytime you'd like, any one of you to come by the one we're working on now, so you can see what all goes into one. And get an idea of what it will be like.
I've remodeled a lot of homes, a lot of houses, and worked on some commercial buildings, but I've never worked on a movable unit. And so, to me, it's a little different, and like I said, I know termite damage, I know, whether something's safe or not, as far as that, but I didn't know to what extent you can repair. And so when I saw the boys working today, it was very interesting to watch the repairs that they were doing as far as, especially on the one that I was the mainly concerned about. There's two of them that I'm mainly concerned about, but it does look like they are putting in some good supports within it to make it a usable, salvageable place. So,
And I had family live in Barry's trailer park before, and I know Barry always kept it in rain shade. And it was always great.
Well, just like this morning, I had an air conditioner go out, and when she called me, it was out, it was at 8 o'clock. I had it fixed by 9 o'clock. So we jump on anything that needs to be done to take care of it.
gotcha. Okay, well, we really appreciate you guys coming in and giving us some input. Thank you very much.
We've come to talk.
Well, we needed you to. I needed your son to visit with me because, sometimes stepping into something and seeing, wait, whoa, what's going on here? And for him to discuss the difference in the ages and the costs, and sometimes we also need a reality check as to what you're doing, why you're doing it the way you're doing, and working together. Bring them in fixed up as opposed to fixing them up in there, and then, those kind of things.
It's easier for us to do it there, so I don't know why we've ever done it this way, because I've got all the people at my work. It's just sometimes when people have trade-ins or whatever, so bring them there and then pay them to move them again. But we found that it really would be easier to do it at work. All of our materials there, all of our people's there. So I had to pull everybody off this week to go work over here, just because we haven't done it. So it would be easier if we did it that way.
I think we found some good common ground, and I'm glad you came. It's nice to meet you. Okay. All right, I guess we're going to move forward on this.
I do have.
I'm sorry, yes.
They're older trailers, they're going in and redoing. So if you take out the 5-year thing, consideration, are you going to require that it's had repairs done? What if somebody brings in a 1955 trailer and there's not been anything done since?
We're going to tag them as dangerous buildings, and we're going to be moving them back out.
I mean, but what if it looks, you know what I'm saying?
Looks structurally sound from the outside, but might not be in the inside.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to our building permits, and we're gonna have that conversation when somebody says they're bringing one in. Are you talking about in the mobile home parks?
Yeah, I mean, I've, lived in a mobile home also that has been redone, remodeled, an older one, remodeled, it looks like a new one. But in that, the neighborhood over from us that had a credit card, they had the older ones, and we bring in the older ones, but nothing had been done to them.
Yeah.
So I understand why in the past the council has a 5-year. I completely understand her point of you can no longer do that. They're just not cost effective for rentals or most probably even people to be able to own them. Whether it's our community or any other communities now in the area. So I can see doing away with that, but then again, theirs are like new to some extent because they've gone in and remodeled them. So if you do away with 5 years, what's the facility for bringing one in that hasn't been? Is there some language you can put in there or?
Well, we wasn't doing away with the 5 year. The 5 year is on purchased homes.
It's not in our ordinances. We were
The trailer parks has a different ordinance.
Yeah, but you were considering doing that.
We were considering doing that, yes. So basically what you're stating is, you believe that there should still be a inspection of the trailer once they're bringing them in, before they're set, or upon setting, is what you're.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm just saying, looking down to the future road, because that's gonna be really hard. Like she said, if one comes from a couple states away, you're not gonna be able to do that. If they went to all the trouble to bring it in already, but if
There
there's.
should be a safety inspection.
Yeah, or somebody, just like, this poor comparison, but just popped in my head. If you bring cattle across the state line or whatever you have to do, and then say inspection, you know what I mean? Or how inspection came from that state. That's a totally poor comparison, but.
No, I get what you're basically stating that if you bring it in, it needs to be inspected.
Before you get it here.
Denise, do you get yours inspected if they come across state lines?
But if somebody's getting a loan, their bank will inspect them or they're appraised. There's a few towns, like we sold one that went to El Dorado. There's a few towns that they'll send somebody from the city to come to our lot and look at it before they let it go.
So it's not unheard of.
No,
for
and
us
a
to
lot of
ask that.
places will just like take pictures inside and outside. They can't come from the customer. They have to come from us at a lot. And then the city has to approve it. But several cities, they'll send their inspector out to look at.
Maybe we should put in an inspection before she puts it in the park after she's got it fixed.
I'm okay with that.
Like I said, the open line of communication is gonna make a world of difference instead of somebody assuming.
I think on my end, I can see maybe like they do on some new buildings, a certificate of occupancy or something like that, and it's ready to be rented or sold or something. Because I've brought some in the past that were in really, really bad shape. When I got it done, they were like brand new.
Who gives that certificate though? The city. Okay.
So the city would have to inspect it before you could bring it in?
No, I'm saying.
But we're back to.
Before you get rented. Before, like I have it for rent, I'm done with it, I have it for
Right.
rent, you come and look at it and see if it's habitable.
Yeah,
We're back to the same issue though, and once again, we're back to, if you bring in something that's uninhabitable into the city, then it's a dangerous building brought into our city.
And that- That's what we've been discussing with Denisa, and
But the only
she's
issue
gonna
there
fix
is,
them
like,
before.
She has the benefit of just having a place, so let's just say Mary don't have a lot outside of town where you can just go put this trailer to work on it, so like that would be a struggle to.
So with him, you have to inspect it before you rent it out.
Right,
Yeah,
but you
you
still have.
You can't do that.
You can't bring something in and then 6 months later make sure it's inhabitable. At that point, when you're bringing something in, we would say, what's your timeline for that? And make sure that you're staying within a
Right.
pre-approved guideline, a timeframe, so we're fair to everybody.
And on that note, yeah, exactly. You can't, I was gonna say, on that note,
It's across the board.
yeah, on that note, we can't ask her to do it at hers, and then,
and maybe I'm wrong, but as a building commissioner, they need to be inhabitable upon coming into our city limits.
And probably no flat roofs. So I've got some in there that's real new, that still have pitch roof. I don't think you could tell that it's a 2018 versus some of them over in the park. But if they have a flat roof or a rounded roof, they're old, really old. We don't let anything like that go in the park, but we did let a bunch of stuff not ready to go, but we're just not gonna let any flat roofs come in or rounded roofs. No matter what your age limit was, we don't want it.
Sounds like we need to maybe think a little deeper on some of this. Before my conversation with you, I was ready to, let's put an age on these suckers. I really was, and I think it's important to listen to our citizens and to listen to our property owners and understand what they're doing, how the process goes before we make decisions, especially hasty ones that will negatively impact the growth of our town. So I do still stand strong in saying whatever comes within our city limits should be inhabitable. So I will state that.
And the fact that you went from 9 to how many now?
We've got 26, that's
Which are citizens that are hooking up to our water and sewer and gas and all of that. So, great discussion, for sure.
Anything else, council, before we move on? Thank you, guys. Okay, number 3, solar grants for new water system. Doreen.
He is not able to be here tonight, but he will bring some information if we can set another time that he can be here.
So do you want to postpone it to
Yeah. October 12th, please.
is that a motion?
Make a motion that we change the discussion for solar grants for the new water system to October 12th.
Okay, Doreen has made the motion to postpone the solar grants for the new water system to October 12th. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay, discussion authorizing the mayor to approve and assign for all payment requests for the construction of the wastewater treatment plant improvements. We had a discussion, we had a pre-con meeting the other day with our new construction company, McClanahan, and they discussed how they will be requesting pay. It'll be through pay apps for our sewer system. Our contract will be in place starting October 23rd. It's 60 days. They have 60 days to start ordering products and start getting ready to move forward on our wastewater. What we're requesting is that you guys give me permission to go ahead and sign off on products as they order it on their pay apps. Because what they're going to do is they'll order things, they'll have to show it to USDA, they'll have to show it to CDBG, then show it to us, then we have to approve it, and then we have to go and turn around and pay them, all within a 30-day period. Correct, Lana? Am I representing this right? Okay. So if we have to approve every single piece of this, we're at the mercy of whenever the bill comes in, whenever the meeting occurs, then we have to vote and then pass it on to them, which could cause us to either be behind on things or cause a delay on products to be purchased. Am I recapping this right? Doreen, you were there kind of hearing it? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what we are asking is, would you guys be interested in just allowing me to sign off on those? That means you will still get the receipts and you'll see them, but it could sometimes be after it's already paid for. Thoughts?
And these are going to be significant sums of money.
Yes, significant sums. They will be looked at over, like I said, it'll go through USDA first. Cody Green will have an eyes on them. Algor Martin, Gene Spears, working for Algor Martin, will have eyes on them. Sue Bacorn will have eyes on them. Then I will have eyes on them. And then if the council feels they need to vote on it first, they can, or I can sign it and then you get them.
I'd like to, since there are going to be such large sums, the mayor and city clerk be 2 signatures on that kind of a payment. That's
It's definitely reasonable. That's That's up to you. You'll need to do that by resolution if you're going to allow us to do that. Do you need to adjust that resolution then, that you have kind of a skeleton copy here?
I'll go ahead and read this, and then before I pass it for signature, I'll make the amendment to it, and I'll read it with the amendment.
Okay.
A resolution of the City of Granby, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to approve and sign all payment requests pursuant to construction of wastewater treatment plant improvements. Whereas Jamie Conway is duly elected mayor on April 4th, 2023. And whereas the Board of Aldermen feel it is sound business practice to have a resolution granting authority to Mayor Conway and city clerk Lana Price to sign to approve and sign all payment requests on behalf of the city of Granby. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the city of Granby that Jamie Conway as mayor and Lana Price as city clerk are authorized to approve and sign payment requests on behalf of the city of Granby for construction of wastewater treatment plant improvements. All other resolutions in conflict hereof are hereby repealed.
I move that we approve this resolution as read.
I'll second that. Okay, Bill has approved it, Doreen has seconded that. Do you need that in a roll call form? Okay.
Yes, Jordan Klaus,
Yes.
Bill Kittredge,
Yes.
Dave Carroll,
Yes.
Bobby White,
Yes.
We are hoping to have a groundbreaking ceremony mid-October, towards the end of October, for our wastewater improvement.
I spoke with the chamber and they're available October 23rd at 10:00.
Is that okay, because that's the day there's the construction people are supposed to work, we're getting their work?
Hopefully we'll do it at the entrance of the place to actually.
Probably where their sign will be at or something.
Okay. So October 23rd at 10 a.m. I just want to make sure the citizens know we are moving forward with it and it will get completed. Lana, do we need to go ahead and wait for you to get that typed up before we move on? Okay. Chief Murphy, discuss controlled burns and the fire department? So, controlled burns, oh, yes, I'm sorry. Controlled burns, okay, when we were doing our citywide cleanup, which has been really fun, guys. I don't know that the city guys has enjoyed it as much as I did. Murphy brought us water last week. Never do citywide cleanup in August, it's really hot. Not a smart move on your mayor's behalf. But a lady had asked us to pick up her limbs in her backyard, and it was like a massive pile. And I said, no, you need to burn those, because one, you can't get the truck back there, it'll sink it. And she said she's kind of afraid, so we were kind of talking to Murphy about doing a controlled burn with this fire. What's your thoughts on this?
Yes, and yous all have papers. That is agreements that we do for, like we burn a house, training. We keep the city out of everything. The other one is a liability by it being training, that the volunteers, they get hurt, they're on their own. If there's any property damage done from us helping them, the city is held not liable.
Would someone's insurance cover
Not on what,
These
are dilapidated houses and stuff.
Well, are you talking about, you're talking about the burn pile, like if the pile was to get out of control, which I mean, you're a fire department, we would assume that would never happen, but if.
It would be still the property owners because it was said intentional.
Okay, arson.
You allowed them to set it, you allowed them to set the fire so you didn't start it?
I prefer that. We're going to do a house on Pennsylvania. We're going to take a barrel in and smoke out the house first and do training in the smoke. Now that house we will probably light. We have promised these people we do it late September, early October, and Jamie came to me and she knew something was up. There is restrictions on these houses, like the shingles and stuff like that. Me and Jamie talked briefly about making them put up a $500 or $1,000 refundable deposit. For when we're done, they'll clean up the remainder, like the foundation and stuff, and give them like 30 days to do that if it's a dilapidated house.
Question then, if you're asking them to pay $5,200 or $500 to $1,000, if they don't clean it up,
The city keeps
do
the
we
money.
keep that money and then go clean it for them?
Well, yeah.
So that's basically saying, if I don't clean it up, I'll let you take care of it for $5?
Well, I'm saying, but, or do you want to see that house set, the foundation? With the house down, foundation still looks better than the house.
Right.
But,
Just a question.
I know of one that we will probably get, that I think she's abated, and the grandson, or the nephew will clean it up.
Yeah, when they don't have shingles on them, I'm questioning why.
But it's good training for us, and if you look at that, that is what we make the homeowner and our volunteers sign. So the city has zero liability.
So are you wanting us to work up a contract for the deposit?
Yes, on the first, or the homeowner deal.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to see that, and that one on Pennsylvania has already been approved. But yeah, you just need to work something up from that point.
Okay.
To add to it or whatever.
So council, what are your thoughts? What kind of deposit should be put down if a homeowner decides they want to go ahead and do a burn on their dilapidated home? What kind of deposit do you think?
Well, I think we need to factor in the price it would cost the city to go in and clean it up if they do not. So.
Yes, Wendy?
Two questions. One, does it now then, because he's left the city out, does it involve you by requiring this deposit now?
No, it involves the city already, but he's already worked out a deal with these people before we've come up with the fact that we probably need to have a contract in that states that.
So it'd be a different contract?
It would be from whenever the contract is approved on out. This contract's just a non-liability. It doesn't have anything to do with the deposit. We're just concerned about the deposit.
That's what I'm saying, I didn't know if you're gonna try and add it to that, or you're gonna have to tell them, like, do people have to have permits then from the city to do these types of burns?
They have to go
A dilapidated building, we can get away with it, sounds weird, but if you wanted to burn a building, it has to be down in a pile, or otherwise it's considered arson, even if you can prove you didn't have insurance on it. But a standing structure,
I just wondered, with you requiring now a deposit, could you not wrap it in with, on the city side of it, keeping it separate from that, for people who are gonna have burns, whatever, whether it's a pile or a house or whatever, get a permit, and then if it is a structure, that you might have to go back in, as opposed opposed to like the brush pile, the city's not gonna clean it up. With the structure, you might end up having to clean it up. If they don't,
Yeah, we wouldn't have a permit, or we wouldn't have a deposit at all for brush, that's them.
Right.
Because they have the right to do that.
That's what
at
I was
house,
saying.
They cannot set on fire like you.
Right,
So-
right, the brush piles, and we've done people's burnt fields, and we've went out there and just watched.
Right.
They wasn't charged anything whatsoever.
So we would have a contract specific to a dilapidated home where they've removed the shingles and the wiring as EPA requires, and our fire chief uses it as a training, and they would put a deposit down. Is that covering?
No, I know that, but, you know, you said you're trying to keep the city out of being liability. But now, with you coming in and tagging this on, are you tagging on to his agreement, or are you having a separate agreement with that person for the $500 or $1,000?
It would be a contract with the person directly.
Through
The city or the fire department?
It would, well, the city and the
It'd
fire
have to be
department
the,
one. I mean, we're.
yeah, it would be the city of Granby
City of Granby,
would be the way it would, the contract reads,
right.
even in there,
The fire department is a city employee.
yes.
We are one entity. There is a department under us, so it would be one.
There's several times he made that he kept the city out of that.
Out of this specific, like, the one we're doing right now that has the shingles off of it, right now.
Right.
We hadn't discussed any kind of deposit.
Deposit.
So right now, the one that he's going to do in October or September, that one is exempt from anything we come up with deposit-wise right now.
But the contract, she will have to sign what we have right now, she has to sign.
Yeah, she will sign liability waivers, she just won't have a deposit to put down. Does that?
Yeah, no, I thought he meant that he'd always try to, for there was a reason why the city was always out.
No. No, not always exempt. We just haven't really discussed it a whole lot. There hasn't been much of a focus on your dilapidated places, and there hasn't been really a huge option for them to come and say, hey, help me out here.
Right.
So we're trying to work together.
We, it's something, why we're, last council, not this one, wanted to charge people to burn their house down. A lot of people ain't gonna pay. It is perfect training, free training for my firemen. They were wanting to charge the water and all that. I personally, I live in town. There's a lot of them I'd burn down just so they'd be, the eyesores would be gone.
And opening a place for a new structure.
Yeah, it opens up the, yeah. But the main thing is our concern of, okay, so you burn it down, then all of a sudden you have a pile of rubble. So that's why if you throw a deposit on there, if they're willing to clean it up, then they get their money right back, and it's no loss to them as far as, you know, I guess time and effort of cleaning it up. We do have a recycle place where they could haul it to, or what have you, but, or bury it with a excavator.
And we've done that in the past on a burnout building. We finished burning the building, and they never cleaned anything up.
So it does go back to Doreen's comment, how much is it worth, or how much can a person afford to put down as a deposit too? That's a concern also. So if you go too high, people won't take advantage of it because they won't have the money to even put as a deposit. If you go too low, then it's not going to be worth their time to worry to clean it up.
And then be on our shoulders at that point.
I don't have equipment. I can burn and put out, that's all I can do.
Some gym, right?
Yep.
So what's your thoughts, council, if we were to type up a contract for this, what amount would be a fair amount?
How much was it to get those containers that you're taking around for city cleanup?
It's 300, wasn't it?
We were allowed up to $200.
We're talking about the ones we rented, that we drove
For
around?
the cleanup.
I
They were
believe,
talking about additional dumpsters out past the recycle facility.
and I believe you're right.
Because most
it
of
was
this will be
300.
like filled dirt that should be left, you know,
Yeah.
what I'd call fill dirt. because it'd be concrete,
It's concrete, yeah.
concrete or bricks.
I was not very appreciative of the fact that the ground, the concrete back up underneath the house that I live in now, and then the grass doesn't grow very well. But that's it.
What would you suggest as a price?
I would probably not be that person to ask. That would be more like Jim's, because the foundation part, yeah, you can bust it down with the backhoe, but the city does not have a full-size dump truck.
Right.
So I don't know how many loads on the 1 ton it would take. I guess it would be according to each burn, to the size, go off that way.
And you could do a square footage,
Right.
the base of their, yeah.
So we could leave it open and for each one, it's a separate contract, we could just put a
Yeah, you could leave up, because I got lines open in that, as you can see, like names. You could leave that open, deposit.
deposit of
You could have rates, kind of like he was saying, like a 500 or less is this amount, or 500 minimum, but your square footage is this much or less is this amount.
according to square footage.
Yeah. How about
Yeah.
that? And we'll do up to 1,000.
But before I ever do one, Yins will have the copy of the permit.
I'll get a
or-
contract typed up to add to that.
Okay.
And then they can do the deposit. Okay. sounds
All right.
good. Okay. Any other, you good?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll vote on the contract to make sure it's what you guys are looking for before we actually do it. Can we add that, I would entertain a motion to add that, back in a month.
That's back for discussion.
Yeah, it's, well, the contract, a contract for a deposit on.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we add back
Deposit contract.
a deposit contract on the September 28th.
Okay, Gabe has made the motion to add the conversation back about the contract on September 28th meeting. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay, that won't fall off either. Okay, number 7, discuss possible membership option with city business license. Lana, can you slide with this one?
Yeah, I had heard from an area business person about something recently that he felt like he missed out on something. And, so Carrie and I were talking, this was Carrie's idea, I think it's a great idea, that possibly have a business membership, that would allow them, some possible advertising opportunities within the state. City may be using the, I call it the Jumbotron across the street card. But then have a text group for our city businesses, updates of different things going on in the city, maybe a business expo that they could participate in, maybe feel a little more included in the stuff that's going on in the city. And the membership, of course, would be up to the board for recommendation with an additional $25, and those monies would go towards maybe hosting a business expo or the community building for our community businesses. And then there would be an information packet when they got their business license.
So what you're proposing is basically, they sign up for a membership about the price of $25, and then they get a list of, these are your benefits to be in a membership, kind of like they do with a Neosho Chamber.
That would be more localized.
Who would be running this?
Well, that's a really good question. We're a little stretched thin right now.
I think her name was Carrie, right?
Carrie's the one who recommended it. I do think it's a good idea. I think the Neosho Chamber is an excellent resource, but I also think that we have something to offer here to our businesses that sometimes you miss out on.
I tend to disagree, and this is the reason why. As we're trying to grow our Parks Department, our Parks Committee, we are relying heavily on a lot of to help and donate, and that's part of our spiel, is we would be advertising for them. I don't want to just double, hit a price or hit them, because
So do you think this is a good option without the membership fee or a $5 membership fee?
yeah, I think I'd really like to just have a bigger discussion on this as far as what they actually offer, because if you're saying that they could be, they could participate in fairs and clinics, well, when we have, our Old Town Days and we have the vendors, does that give them free rein to be there just with their 25, and then somebody else will come in and say, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think we just need to be a little more specific on what we are offering them as this membership, what this membership includes. Because we are definitely advertising for any business that's donating to the events that we're hosting. Because, for example, we are doing the senior coffees. The businesses that we've asked to donate the treats for those days, we have told them we will set a sign up that they'll have, they can leave their business cards, they can leave some examples for, like, for instance, with Needle and Thread. They asked if they could set their business card up and a couple samples of their products that they actually have in their store. So I don't want to say, okay, this is what you get and we're going to advertise everything, versus allowing them to be a little more giving, I'll put it that way, with their donations for city events. So I don't want to limit them, which in turn limits our funds for improvements that we're trying to get done.
And it does cost a lot to be on the chamber membership. It costs more than, that, and like the business expo, you pay for your booth and everything.
Right, see, I don't want to say we're going to, this is what we're going to do tonight. I would just like to have a bigger, longer discussion about it as far as how it affects other committees, and for Grove Granby, if everybody already had this, would they want to?
Well, just because you have a membership with a chamber also doesn't mean you get into any of their stuff free. I've paid for breakfasts, I've paid for, seminars.
You personally, but I mean, as a business, if we're saying this is a part of your business license that is the membership, I just would like to have it in black and white, what all that entails.
Right, and I think that's what you're getting at, is this is just you're putting this out here as a proposal that we might have something like this.
Consideration that a business can opt in when they purchase their business license for an additional fee.
Right, they don't have to.
And it's mostly for information, if you want to be privy to things going on, we send a business text out once a month.
Okay.
With updates of things that are going on in the city that you might want to opt into. It's not guaranteeing them a position within that event. Basically, they'll be provided the information that they choose to opt in.
Well, just because it says information/participation in citywide events, that would make me believe that would be their entrance fee for that, so that they are participating and not having to pay an entrance fee.
I understand.
Or a booth rental fee, and whatever. I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea, I would just like to make sure that we have it in more detailed form of what they're receiving versus, and then we have another committee coming in and saying, hey, we want you to do this, and they're like, nope, I've already got this membership, and I should already be included in that. Just want some more clarification.
So I think what they were trying to put it out in front of us is are we interested, should they even bother pursuing it? That's what your idea was, that's why you weren't wanting to go forward.
Brainstorm a way to alleviate frustration from businesses that feel left out.
And there has been a couple lately, yes.
Doesn't Monad have some kind of a welcome package when they get a business license that comes with their license? I was thinking
And
that's
those
what's...
could have some benefits as a city, as a business owner, and this is what you get. But if this is a different membership fee altogether, not just pertaining to the business license.
Right.
So I think there's a great discussion to be had on this.
When would we like to have a further discussion, or?
Maybe we could come up with some more streamlined guidelines and present that to the council to approve.
Is Carrie the one that would want to be doing that, coming up with that, or do we need to have into that? I know she's like,
When we were discussing this, I go, Carrie, that's a really great idea. She goes, well, if I put them aside down, not volunteering. But I think all of us feel that way right now. It's just the season that we're in. There's a lot of change going on and a lot of things happening within the city. I don't blame them for feeling that way.
I've always thought, I mean, when I first put my business in, I was on an island of my own. And then I was here for probably about 4 years, and people started coming to me and asking me questions. I had lots of entrepreneurs that wanted to put things into our town, and they would come and ask me. And I always thought that we are lacking in education for our entrepreneurs that are coming in to put in businesses. For example, the key killer is inconsistency in this town. You close early 2 or 3 nights a week, you don't show up, you show up late, you're going to put a business. And so those are the kind of things that I always thought that would be important for business owners to know, or to even have like little seminars over or what have you. But how do we, is this kind of what you're thinking that would bring that kind of information to people?
Information, and I think we're doing a lot for and with the community right now, which I think is great. It fosters a sense of neighborhood, just in general. But that being said, we don't want to bypass our businesses and kind of leave them out in the cold if they're already in the
I am on, okay. Wendy, you're not on it though. I was looking for somebody on this. They have a text group. It's the Granby Merchants. They actually have their own page and everything. I wonder if any of them would be interested in this information to just kind of gather knowledge and see if adding just like a little business group. Like we used to have coffee where the businesses would go to each business and have coffee together. And when I first opened, they did that, then they stopped all of a sudden. I wonder if those.
bank was involved with that when he retired. So did that.
And so I happened, Neosho Chamber had First Coffee over at GTC. I networked, I had a tax lady come to my house last night because I met her there. And it's like, it was valuable knowledge that we're missing out on. So I wonder if that group would be interested in making some better guidelines that would not conflict with your parks and recs, and that would have their own more business-oriented versus event-oriented. Is that your concern?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not opposed. I would just like to have more guidelines as far as what their specific membership entails.
And Maureen's not wrong. A lot of all of the businesses in Granby get hammered from the schools, from events, wanting sponsorship, this, that, and the other. I wouldn't want to conflict with that. I wouldn't want to cost them more. They're not the most valuable assets to our community.
So, I mean, maybe it's a resource that we could pull without having a costly membership, more of a, yeah, but it needs to be having some moving parts that have events every now and then, like educational things brought to our town. I'd love to have some educational speakers on entrepreneurship and businesses and how to do taxes and stuff like that. So.
And I'm just gonna say this, we can't please everyone. We can't, we can advertise and mention and post about events that we're having, but, I don't know how informative monthly is great. That way they know there's something coming up, and if they want to be involved, they can. So that's what I'm saying. I don't disagree with this, but I think we just need to streamline it and get specific on what the perks might be. And if we don't want to have it as a cost for them, it might just be a perk. But I
We just
welcome
take
the
up doing
discussion.
it without having to think about it. It's just send it on text. Get a group thing up, and every month on this date, send it out to the businesses.
Well, it's kind of like what we're doing now as far as our website, if we have a water lease. If you've signed up for the text, you're going to get it. So if we have the same system set up for all businesses, that they get those texts, they would have to sign up and be aware.
I'm
so
not
they get that
necessarily
information.
concerned about people not knowing what events are coming up. They're being advertised. That's not where, I'm saying that sometimes as a business owner in this town, you're on an island of your own. And sometimes it's hard to it's hard to get the information or to network with other businesses because you're busy running your own thing. So I do think that there is value in having a business group. I think they have created somewhat of a cohesive unit that people aren't seeing. It's through messaging, and I see what they're doing. They did the bingo cards throughout town this last month. So,
Would Granby be part of that? I mean, you guys are business people, correct?
Yeah, see, the foundry is already, I think Ginger.
Ginger.
Merged the group together. And so she'll be the one to talk to about it.
I think it's that visibility out there though, because Dory told me 3 weeks ago about the Granby Parks and Rec page, and I only just now found it, and I looked for it, I just didn't know what I was missing, you know, and unless you have time to go out and find those things.
you need people inviting, and then we need to make sure that our events are put on our website, on the city page. Well, we don't have, yeah, just the website, the calendars. A lot of times, I mean,
And I think you're working on improving that. We're talking about that.
we find out a lot of stuff through Facebook and, yes, Wendy, I'm sorry. What was it?
I think a point is she was talking about text. I would say most of us in this room probably primarily rely on Facebook, internet. And she's saying text, it's probably somebody who doesn't see stuff on Facebook. And so there's still some businesses, you have to go back and do it.
I've been beating feet all week, as soon as I get
Yeah, but
off
some
work.
of the businesses like in houses or
I'm
whatever.
going door to door, I'm
Every
going,
house.
if
I mean,
you got a business.
I have to admit,
That's what I'm saying, I think getting the list of the businesses.
Yeah,
And
beating
then-
feet, that's what
I have to
I've been
admit,
doing for
you
the last 2
can't,
days.
you can't reach everybody all the time. I mean, take the citywide cleanup, for example. I started advertising, towards the end of, or the middle of July. I put it on there every week. I put the information, I put the stuffers, I put it out there, I put it on Facebook over and over again, and I had one lady jump on there and say, well, it's nice to find out one day after it's already, or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
You
what?
can't please everyone.
Yeah, you can't please everyone, and that's not what our goal is. Our goal is, how are we building? We are building our parks and recs, and we are building events amazingly. You guys are on a roll, on a roll. It's great, it's exciting. I think what they're talking about is how do you start unifying your businesses to make them stronger also? I do get that there was a concern that a couple people has been left out on activities, and that's gonna have to, you have to close that gap somehow, but that's a totally different thing than a business membership or a business group. Those are two separate entities, I think. So I do think Ginger would be our source to go towards and discuss, maybe nailing down some ideas that are business-oriented, business-directed. I don't know that there's an answer to making sure everybody knows about every single event, except for just making sure that we're all mindful that if it involves their business or something near their business, maybe let them know about it. That's the only
So
thing.
could we have businesses that have purchased their licenses, can we reach out to those through a mail, or I think just mail them to their business address and asking them their preferred method of contact for, however we're gonna do it. I mean,
Updates or whatever.
just, yes, how would you like to be included in information as far as city happenings?
Just be careful to make sure you're not making your people do like 50 different things.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We're
And I
working on a
can- I can-
calendar now for
Yeah.
all the September events that we can post. September 1st is going to have all these September events on it. We're just still locking down some dates and working through that.
I still
So we
think
do
the
have that.
text would, I mean, who doesn't get a text? I mean, like, I mean, and then you think about people who don't have time to like go home and get on Facebook. So, like, you get a text, everyone looks
Like I
at their
said, it
text,
comes through
so.
the city website, and then it's on the website, and it's a text, correct?
Yeah.
Is that how you notify people? So you can get,
We have the option, we can do both or one or the
yeah,
other.
so we send a letter to the businesses and ask them which way they would prefer to get information in a timely manner. And if they want to sign up for the text messages and website notices, they'll get them. And if they don't, then, I mean, we have a list of people that said, no, we don't want to be notified, and then we go contact them because they decided they didn't. I mean,
Surely you wouldn't have somebody that says, don't notify me. I mean, and if you do, then they don't get notified, that's their problem.
Well, that might be somebody with an online business that won't be concerned about what's happening here. So, I mean, there's the
They
option.
can opt out.
Yes.
You can opt out of those. But I think making sure that it is clear, I get your concern about the $25. Maybe see what we can do that doesn't require a cost, and if we do bring events in for businesses like trainings or entrepreneurial speakers or something like that, then they could pay a small fee to go to it, you know, so, I don't know.
Or we could just, like when you're sending out the text saying, these are the upcoming events for September. If you would like to be included in them, contact XYZ for more information.
Number 9, discussing the city hosting an open gym night. Christie, could you, please walk yourself up to this mic? Loudly and clearly.
You don't have a hard time with that.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the gist of it. We were hoping we could do like one night a week where from 5 to 7, the gym's open, kids can come in, play basketball. Of course, we'd have to get basketballs, but we might even have refreshments that they could purchase, and then the money would go back to Parks and Rec, but just something for the kids to do. Of course, if it was rented out, that's the problem. We'd have to schedule it around the building being rented. We thought Mondays would be the best day. Not a lot of people are renting the building for parties on a Monday, but and we're also, yes, and school's out that day. Also, we're going to try to find enough volunteers that would also monitor it so nobody's just tearing stuff up.
Okay, so just to recap, you're thinking one night a week.
For now, yeah.
Okay, 5 to
5 to 7.
5 to 7. You would have a monitor there to
Yep.
make sure things are not getting filled out.
Yep.
Okay, and you think Mondays would be the best days?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens during basketball season when they want to use their gym?
We will maybe change the day and just announce that we're going to change it. Mondays the gym's booked. We're going to do it on Thursdays or Fridays, or maybe during basketball season we don't have open gyms. Or maybe we have open annex and we have games or something in there that they could play. Board games, Wii, Nintendo, something in there that we could have them, they could go in there and play with the monitor.
I love the idea, and the only thing I worry about is if you end up having to change days, then you're going to lose
Get confused.
participants. It's not going to build up.
Yeah.
And so I think the council needs to consider, if we do this, I think she needs to have a set day that she has this, or the city has this for the kids, so that they consistently know that this is available.
I like Mondays. I mean,
I like the Monday 5 to 7 thing, and if you have to give it up during basketball season, you go to the other court.
yeah, you go to the annex and have some stuff in there available. Because they could still do a lot of things in the annex. It's a big space, but, just to get out of the heat and get out of the cold in the winter and have a place to go. And maybe with these kids, if they're coming in there and we have good monitors that can mentor a few of them, it could help with the problem of the park getting tore up if we teach them the importance of, hey, we have these nice things and we're going to work with you guys on this and make more things for you, but you got to quit tearing it up. That might help with that. So
Are we going to have an age limit?
we don't want toddlers, but
Yeah. I mean, at what age do the parents have to stay with
stay with them.
somebody
Yeah, that's true.
Under 12?
Yeah.
maybe? I mean,
Yeah, you wouldn't.
12 to,
Actually, like some of those kids that are down at the park right now, I would say their parents are letting them go down there by themselves a lot younger, so maybe even,
There was a little girl in my shop one day, I had a chat with her, and she informed me that she was 8 years old.
yeah,
She's walking around our town.
they're walking by our house and they're around 8 years old. So if we had a safe place where they could go and,
school
play
age,
some,
would that be?
yeah, I think school age, because I don't see parents dropping off their 6 or 7 year old and just saying go play, but maybe. But
I had
if you had the option, you might. I think Kelsey was gonna be one of the monitors. So what would you say, as long as they're
School age, yeah.
school age, they would be
I just want to clarify, because I
Yeah.
don't want somebody to drop their 3-year-old off thinking.
Yeah, play basketball.
Or there's a free babysitting while they run to town.
Hey, we could offer that as a service and make money, though, potty training. No, just kidding.
Students of the elementary,
Yeah.
students of the East Haven district?
Yeah.
How you could probably specify that.
Yeah. It's a
I
start.
like it. I like it. It's a great idea.
It's a good start. I think they used to have open gyms before, and not really sure why they quit, but maybe they never did. I don't know.
Yeah, I read an article on it.
I read an article, but it was a while ago, so I wasn't really sure.
I don't want to read it.
Times have changed. We're going to do some stuff for our citizens and our kids in town.
Put money at the door to do that or something.
Okay, they had to pay 50.
I did that one. Play basketball.
Well, I think that it's a good thing, a good program for our kids.
Yeah, it would be free.
Yeah, free.
But she's talking about, Parks and Recs could set up a concession where they
Yeah.
actually can purchase items if they want to,
Yeah,
but they don't have
water,
to.
juice, chips, things like that, and that's also an
Can we
opportunity
rethink
to.
the thought of putting a machine in there, a vending machine, that the city or the Parks Department fills and refills and monitors?
I hate the idea of a machine. And the reason why is because the machines that they brought in, all of the money went to the company.
To the
It was
company.
not
We'd have to buy our own machine if we did it that way.
busted in
Yeah.
there, yeah.
Maybe we can discuss the option to purchase one with.
Yeah, and as it goes on, we can
That
see
goes
that
back to our-
if it's crazy busy, then we have a person. If it's just maybe a handful of people, we just have them see about purchasing a machine. I might know of a soda one, but a friend has one that's just sitting empty, so. But I think, like Kelsey's the monitor, she wouldn't just be bored out of her mind if she's running a thing. And I'm gonna hopefully get more people to volunteer so we can cycle through it. But I know people told me they wanted to help, so I'm hoping I can rely on those people too.
Well, I think it's an excellent idea. It's up to the council as to whether, and another question would be though, if she's coming in from 5 to 7, running late, whatever, you're gonna have to have a key and go back and forth. Would that be us providing her a key to have on hand to get in and out, without having to get it from the city every day? Because
It would be nice, because like yesterday, I took some water up there and the door was locked and I had to stand around and wait. And also, we want to do some improvements in the senior center, some painting and some decorating to make it a little less blah and more like inviting for people to come in. So, if we
so
can.
you're saying as the parks.
Yeah,
person-
easy to go, like, yeah.
You're voted the chair. weren't
Yeah.
you? So the parks chair, you're wanting a key to each section.
It would be a little helpful, but 'cause sometimes, like even like today, I really could have went up there and cleaned for a little bit. It was kind of messy, so.
I know when I was in Minnesota, I had to leave my keys with Bobby so that she could.
You left them with me.
You left them with her? I left
Yeah.
them with you, and then, I
Yeah.
put them back, and yeah. That's right, because I passed them in the rain.
Yeah, in the pouring, we picked the perfect time.
Yeah.
And
So-
that goes back to when we said we were opening the senior center for a cooling station.
Yeah, that was the day I was trying to take some water
It was
over, so.
not open when we
Yeah.
went in. We thought it got left unlocked, and it's not.
And I'm usually, besides on Mondays and Tuesdays, close by that I can run over, unlock things. And it might even help if there's a building rental, if nobody can get over there, they could also call me and I could run over.
Okay, so basically what you're asking of the council is if you can receive a key to the annex and all that.
Mhm.
And if you could utilize the building every Monday from 5 to 7 in the gym, if possible, move over if there's a basketball.
Mhm.
What's the thoughts, council?
Good.
I'm for it.
We need a motion.
I make a motion that we allow our Parks Committee to establish a Monday night open gym from 7 to 9 with the.
5 to 7.
5 to 7,
Yeah.
from 5 to 7 with monitoring, and provide a key for her to open the buildings when needed.
Okay, Doreen has made that very long motion. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor?
Thank you.
4-0. Thank you. We appreciate your interest in our youth. Number 9, it has been brought to our attention that November is a little off on dates because we're going to fall on Thanksgiving. Unless Bill's bringing turkey, we are not having a meeting on Thanksgiving.
Yes, liquor.
Mhm.
Would you like to use his liquor?
Oh, no. So we were thinking maybe moving the meetings from having them on the 16th and the 30th, is that correct? Instead, in November. What's your thoughts, council?
Works for me.
Yeah, that's good.
I think we're gonna need a motion on that because it is an ordinance to have it, how we're having it right now.
I got you. I make a motion that we change the dates of our city council meeting in November due to holiday conflicts to the 16th and the 30th.
Okay, Doreen has made the motion to move the November meetings to the 16th and the 30th. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. I would entertain
Make
a
a
motion.
motion, we dismiss.
There we go. Dave has made the motion to dismiss. Bill has seconded that. All those in favor? 4-0. A few audience members.
Your guys will have to get off the chairs if you want to stay here.